Last year, Xiaomi released the Mi Mix, a proof-in-concept smartphone with a 6.4-inch, almost bezel-less design, and it garnered a lot of attention, and rightfully so, as it really was a groundbreaking device in many ways. Well, the follow-up for 2017 is now out. It's a Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, and in a lot of ways they played it safe with this device to make it a little bit more mainstream. This is my unboxing and first impressions of the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. The Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 comes in at around $569 US. I'll put a link below for more information and where you can buy one. Packaging is somewhat premium as this is Xiaomi's flagship device. Now I went with the 64GB version, but there is a special edition that comes with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of onboard storage, and it has an all-ceramic build, unlike the Mi Mix 2 standard edition, which has it only on the back. Opening the box, you're greeted by some writing. Now it's in Chinese, so if somebody wants to translate for us and let us know, do so in the comment section below. It would be much appreciated. You get a power charger, it's 5 volts, 3 amps, and it is Quick Charge 3.0 compatible. And you get a USB-C cable, which you'll use to charge the device. You get a SIM ejection tool along with a 3.5mm headphone adapter, which you'll need since the Mi Mix 2 doesn't have a headphone jack, which is becoming the trend in 2017 as most flagships now do not have a headphone jack, a disturbing trend indeed. And you get some documentation, which is in Chinese. And they include a really nice case that fits the device really well. But it's not leather like last year, which you got with the Mi Mix 1. Holding the Mi Mix 2 for the first time, you realize just how premium and high-end this device really is. The ceramic is really gorgeous, but it is a major fingerprint magnet. And it's also very slippery, so it's nice they include the case. Now, as far as ports are concerned, here's what you get. On the bottom of the device, you get your USB Type-C port. That's where you'll charge the device. And you get a speaker on the bottom along with a speaker in the earpiece. That's a new addition in the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. And speaking of the earpiece, it's a nice welcome addition, something that the Mi Mix 1 suffered from in terms of call quality. On the top of the device, you have your microphone along with some antenna lines. On the right side of the device, you have your volume rocker up and down along with your power button. Now it's good to see that the buttons are metal and not plastic. And on the left side of the device is where you'll find your SIM tray. On the front of the device, you get a 5-megapixel front-facing camera. It's located on the bottom right-hand side of the display, and it really is not ideal for taking selfies, as it really is up-your-nose type webcam. But you can turn it upside down to take a proper selfie. Many were disappointed with the Xiaomi Mi Mix in terms of camera quality from last year. Well, I'm glad to report that they have improved the camera, especially on the back. It's a 12-megapixel shooter with an f2.0 lens. It has optical image stabilization, it has HDR, and it can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second. The camera protrudes out about a millimeter or so, and there is a gold ring around it. Love it or hate it, that's the aesthetics they decided to go with. I thought the image quality was decent, and especially in low light situations, I really didn't have high expectations. As past performance is any indication, I didn't have any high hopes, but actually turned out pretty good in terms of low light performance, better than expected. And here are some samples of some photos I've taken with the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. You be the judge. There's a fingerprint sensor located on the back of the device. I really like that placement. Setup was easy, and this is by far one of the best fingerprint sensors I've used on a smartphone, bar none. It's fast, it's accurate, and it registered my finger pretty much every time I used it. But without a doubt, the star of this show has to be its 5.99-inch IPS LCD display. It has a resolution of 2160 by 1080. That's an 18:9 aspect ratio, and its chin has been shrunken by 12% over last year's model. It has an 80.8% screen-to-body ratio. Now, it's not bezel-less per se, but the bezels are really thin. And it's covered in Gorilla Glass 4, not quite as good as the more scratch-resistant Gorilla Glass 5. The screen gets pretty bright at 560 nits, making this good for both indoor and outdoor use. I really do like this display. So far, it's really impressing me very much. I like the fact that the blacks are very deep, the colors seem to be very vibrant and pop off the display. It would have been nice if Xiaomi went with an AMOLED display like you'd find on the S8 Plus or the Galaxy Note 8, but nonetheless, it's still a very sharp display in its own right. I'll be doing further testing of the display in the full review. The good news is it now supports 43 LTE bands, meaning this will work worldwide without any issues. I was able to use it with my Project Fi SIM, and it immediately connected to a 4G LTE network right out of the box. And I got decent speeds, but keep in mind my reception is not great in my studio. Performance has been very good so far thanks to its Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor. It's got 6GB of RAM and 64GB of onboard storage, which is not expandable as there is no micro SD card slot, which is a real shame. It did well on the Geekbench 4 test. It did a 6633 on the multi-core score. Its render script score was a 7683, pretty much on par with other flagship devices running the Snapdragon 835. I'll do more testing and have more benchmarks in the full review coming soon. It runs Android 7.1.1 Nougat and the MIUI 8.5. It's pretty much stable and it is very iOS-like, so if you like the Apple environment and the iOS environment, then you'll like the MIUI. Now, this will get MIUI 9 when it is released very soon, and there will be many improvements. Now, this is the Chinese ROM, but there is a global ROM on the way coming soon from what I understand. There is some Chinese bloatware on it. I was able to remove most of it, but not all of it, so please keep that in mind. Build is really first rate and top notch with its aluminum frame and ceramic back. It really is a gorgeous phone. But the price you pay for having that ceramic back is the fact that this is a major fingerprint magnet. And as I stated earlier, there is no headphone jack, which is unfortunate, but there is a speaker located on the bottom of the device and one in the earpiece for stereo sound. With the smaller size comes a smaller battery. Here you get a 3400 mAh battery, down from the 4400 mAh from last year's version.